Welcome, everybody, to episode 225 of The Real China Show.
Shout out to the 225, which is the Baton Rouge, Louisiana area code. Shout out to the Cajun people down there. And we're going to have a massive show today, and I don't mean that lightly. I mean, it's very long. We're going to try to get through it very timely because there's so much content. It's not that one topic is too long. It's that there's like 100 billion topics.
Yeah, so let's saunter right into it with what's new. That's where we talk about everything that's new, specifically with regards to China. Now, we had a breaking episode last week where we were showing how every day there was a disaster, all right?
Yes.
And how quickly that stuff is swept under the rug. Well, guess what? It has been swept under the rug.
Yeah,
have you heard
absolutely.
anything about that bridge collapse in the tunnels?
Some of those things we covered were huge news.
Yeah.
Not in China.
No. Can't find anything about it now.
No.
So anyway, we decided we continue the trend today because here's August 8th in Guizhou, Longting Bridge. Let's take a look.
Bringing you into the experience.
Yes, I'll take a look down.
It's not your fault.
Again, are you going to be happy driving along on a bridge and it just collapses like that?
Depends on what your life goals are.
That's true.
Maybe you're on the way to go do that anyway.
Whenever I see this kind of thing happening in China, because it happens often, bridge collapses, I keep thinking back to those like 2,000-year-old Roman bridges that are still standing.
Yes.
And I'm like, if the Romans got it right, why can't China?
Or there's a bridge in my hometown that's from like the 1800s, and we used to hang out on it after school and everything, and it's still It's still totally fine.
Yeah, trucks going over it.
Absolutely, trucks, everything.
Yep.
Never felt scared.
Yeah, so anyway...
Obviously, Romans are quite a lot longer than
yes.
That's something I grew up with.
Yeah.
New lakefront property.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is.
That's a riverfront.
Yeah.
Wait, a lot of disasters in Guizhou recently. Yikes.
Yes. So the next day, on August 9th. So remember... We said, and I made the statement last time, if we dug enough, we could find one disaster a day for the entire year.
You could find 10. You know what I mean?
So we don't want to be too overindulgent in this, but let's take a look. August 9th, what happened in China, in Ningbo, in Zhejiang?
It's the Zhoushan port. Ningbo is a huge shipping place. A lot of your goods will come from here.
Yeah. Well, just a big, massive mushroom cloud explosion. Let's take a close look. Now, please pay attention. Behind this... Hapag-Lloyd thing. That's not the one that blew up, by the way, but behind it, take a look.
Well, it got smoked.
Yeah.
So this is on a ship.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's a lot of confetti. It's like a Transformers movie.
Can you tell what it is? I want to see what is that flying out. It's like notebooks or something.
No, it's probably packaging because, look, think about it. Whatever goods were in there have now vaporized and you're just seeing the packaging. It could be anything, cheap toys, or anything.
That's true.
It could be anything, right?
Yes.
But that's quite the explosion. Now, apparently no casualties. I kind of find that a little hard to believe, considering when you look at the scale of this. It's at the port. You've got people working there on the docks. You've got people in those cranes. Look at the size of that explosion.
Wow.
I do find it very hard to believe that there are no casualties.
You know where this didn't happen?
Where?
A different port, I believe.
Oh, you mean the...
Port of Dandong.
Nothing ever happens there.
I don't think even a whole lot of shipping happens.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's next to North Korea.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was August 9th. Let's see what... that's quite the explosion.
Yeah. How was no one hurt?
Yeah.
I guess they could have evacuated if there were signs, potentially. I'm just devil's advocate.
That kind of thing happens pretty quick.
I'm just being shot down over here.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to say. It's like an EV fire, it just happens spontaneously.
That's true. You never know, right?
Mm-hmm. See a little bit of smoke and you're like, oh, what's that?
What's that? Let me look close. Oh, there's a Hapag-Lloyd.
Yeah, there's lots of Hapag-Lloyds.
It's obviously this area of the port. I remember when I worked retail, a lot of our boxes in the back would say from Ningbo, China.
Oh, I like how you put this whole thing in there. That's nice. How about the rest? Nanyue area. Let's take a look. This is the next one. Nanyue area in... Where was this? Give me a second. Let me take a quick look. Next spot. August 10th, so the next day. This is the next thing that came along. In Hunan, Hongyan, Nanyue area.
We've been here many times.
Yes.
Not a nice place.
No. Another sinkhole where vehicles just collapsed into the ground. Again, like we said, every single day you could put something in there. What about August 14th? In Qinglong, Guizhou, we have this tunnel. Now this is insane. I would like you to all take a look at this, just the absolute volume of black smoke that's going out of here. Everyone can take a look quickly. Look at that. Absolute pillar of black smoke. It's incredible. So, anyone who's watching this, you can see the absolute scale of this fire in the tunnel. If you were in that tunnel, there's no way you could escape.
No.
There's a huge backlog.
Do we know how many people were in there?
No.
No.
Again, there's no solid reports about any casualties. Nobody knows. But I can guarantee you that if you were in that tunnel when this kicked off, because it looks like a truck had an accident and exploded, and then obviously a bunch of other cars and trucks caught fire. Whoever was in there, you wouldn't be able to reverse out because there's traffic behind you.
Yes.
And you wouldn't have had time to escape these toxic fumes. You would have been overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You know, so serious stuff.
I believe there was a view that was from the inside.
Yes, we have that. Let's see. I mean, look at that. Great for the environment as well.
Just giving Mother Earth a little cigarette to puff on, I guess.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That is billowing, isn't it?
It's crazy.
往贵州方向，昆明到贵州方向，里面隧道里面失火，梧桐隧道，里面不知道着了几辆车。
Look at the size of that.
看到没有？堵的都是车。
Oh, whoa.
Interesting brand. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
reacting.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of trucks traveling through that tunnel.
昆明的往贵州方向，梧桐
I'm
隧道。
curious if any of our audience actually know about this, because this is quite a big event.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I didn't really hear anything about it, to be honest. I don't know about you.
Well, obviously I found this.
Yeah,
but
I
the
mean,
fact
like,
is,
outside of that.
yeah. Here we can actually see a rear view of what happened. You can see there's a truck. So there was obviously someone in front of the truck that had the accident. If you look very closely, you'll be able to see. It's just, look at that. It's obviously a collision or something went wrong, and this truck just exploded. And obviously the vehicle that was recording this is probably lucky to have gotten out.
Wow, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Let's take a look. Yeah. Insane. It's nightmare stuff. I mean,
Oh, man.
what was it carrying to explode like
Who knows? Who knows?
that? Yeah. Because doesn't look like a normal thing to me. This is the aftermath, somebody driving through, where you can see, you can see the damage, just the absolute devastation that's going on there, you know? Wow, look at that. Yeah, so you see all these burnt out husks of trucks that they're passing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's no chance that there was any survival there.
No.
You know, and who knows what damage has been done to this tunnel as well, structurally.
I would assume they would probably stop it and check for a while.
Well, it looks like they let trucks straight through.
This could be part of an inspection or a repair.
No, that's a goods truck. This is
I think it's a bad truck.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. Yeah, they just...
What if those could be there to clear out the debris?
Yeah. It's entirely possible.
Anyway, it's rough.
Yeah. So that was a series of disastrous events that have happened just this past week. And again, it's always like that, right?
Yeah.
Let's move on to something a little more ridiculous.
Let's get out of that scary negative mindset.
Yes.
Because this is funny.
This is, yeah, okay. So now some people filmed this. Now what you've got is you've got a sprinkler truck. And how the sprinkler trucks work, you probably have them in your country as well. But they spray water out the back of the truck to basically clean the side of the road. Okay, because you've got a lot of debris that builds up, especially on the Chinese road, a lot of litter, a lot of dirt, a lot of stuff. So they just go and they basically clean the side of the road.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I guess the sprinkler stopped working or something. They actually got a guy to manually, with a hose, run after the truck, hosing down the side of the road.
Why?
Well,
Why?
I like that.
Wait, can we pause it on that?
Sure. I'll go back. He like rides over the thing, right?
There's a guy on a scooter. Watch what he does.
Yeah,
He sees this.
yeah, and he's like, now's my chance.
This is my chance.
Bam.
It almost got caught up in there.
Yeah, look at that. The poor guy running after. But, this is one of those things because there's so many people in China. Labor is cheap. So you can get a person to do the job that a machine normally would.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But look at this poor old man. He looks like he's really old.
Yeah.
Running with a hose behind the truck. It's just, yeah.
Could be running with the hose.
Yeah,
Instead he's running
exactly.
With a hose.
Yeah, look at it.
Doing what the truck should be doing.
It's ridiculous. Look at him, this poor guy. So anyway, apparently this post went a little viral, and the sanitation department of that city said, "Well, we're looking into it."
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised there's a response.
Yeah, me too. But they said they're looking into it.
Shocking.
Yeah, they're looking. I mean, yeah. I don't think. Anyway, let's move on. We've talked about this a few times.
This is not funny.
No, in China, the police hate motorcycles. It's something we came across a lot because we used to ride motorcycles. So we're kind of experts in this way. We used to ride through the entire country.
Yep.
And it's strange how they just suddenly outlaw motorcycles in certain cities. And they'll just do it overnight. Even if you're legit, even if you're 100% registered and insured and everything, they'll just be like, well, you can't ride motorcycles in the city center anymore, or you can't ride motorcycles in this town or city anymore, period.
Yes.
It is kind of an overnight thing. But people rely on motorcycles because there's no real alternative for cheap transport,
Yeah, I think it's like necessary for a lot of people to use motorcycles for daily transportation. It's also like enthusiasts want to use motorcycles as well, right?
Yeah,
but China
young
goes,
people.
no, that makes China look poor, so they ban them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they go through extreme measures to stop people from riding them.
And that's kind of what this is all about, is they rather than try to do it in a civilized manner, like set up a proper roadblock or something, this is the kind of thing they try to do. Watch, this guy's gunning it down here. The cop wants to stop him. Threw a nightstick at him, a PR-24. Look at that.
What the heck?
You would have killed him. If that actually made contact with the guy, he would have died.
Like, what is your goal here?
Yeah. You hate motorcycles that much, you're willing to murder someone. Because, like, if you hit him, obviously the impact of the baton's not going to kill him, but it'll throw him off and he'll crash. You know what I mean?
I think there's a big issue.
What's that?
With how people are treated based on their economic situation.
Yeah.
And I think what we see here is that they know that a guy, guy farmer dude out in the middle of nowhere that they're trying to stop from riding a motorcycle isn't going to have the means to challenge the police.
Yeah.
Or challenge the legal system or challenge anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Does that make
absolutely.
sense?
Yeah. Okay, well, that's that. This is another amusing thing that's being passed around a lot. Now, this guy has discovered that the hood of his car, or bonnet as we call it, is actually made out of cardboard. All right. Now, listen, I suspect, and we both suspect, actually, let's go back to that. We both suspect that this was not how the car was bought, but probably a repair. Oops. Yeah. We suspect that somebody had a little accident or something, took the car in to be repaired, and they repaired it using cardboard.
So the reason we think this is a repair rather than a manufacture is that we've seen all these joke videos in China where people are using ramen to repair stuff.
Like ramen noodles and whatever. So that's probably what happened. And we've seen how these little service shops work. They just really, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Remember there was that place near where our shop was? And they would bring in like a Land Rover or something to fix because the owner obviously didn't want to spend the money to send it to a dealer. And they would take things off.
Yes.
Like things that are supposed to be there, like ducts for the brake cooling and stuff. And they'd be like, well, we don't need this and throw it away.
Yes.
So
I remember that.
Yeah. It's just like, okay. Anyway, this is like, I mean, this is hilarious.
Let's set it up.
Okay.
So this is the Kim Jong-un double.
Yeah, what's he called again? Something X?
Howard X.
Howard X, yeah.
And he is I guess a Hong Kong-born Australian.
Yes.
Who likes to dress up like Kim Jong-un and then go make scenes in public.
Yes.
We've seen him before at some some legislation stuff or something in Australia. I can't remember. But anyway.
He's hilarious.
He's very funny. But he went to the Olympics dressed up as Kim Jong-un.
Yes.
Went in the crowd. And then in front of either the paid Chinese pretending to be North Korean people in the crowd or actual North Korean athletes, I can't tell from this video, goes and punches a Winnie the Pooh doll and flies the North Korean flag just to get a reaction.
Yes.
If there are real North Koreans there that saw this, I can't even imagine what they're thinking.
Yes.
I just can't imagine.
Well, I think this really shows the double standard because we showed last time on the show how Taiwanese people were holding up a flag, not even a flag, a banner that said Taiwan.
Yes.
Not even a flag, nothing political.
No.
And the organizers were snatching the flags away, snatching the banners away. We had Chinese nationalists running in to snatch their things. But this guy is impersonating the dictator of North Korea. You couldn't get more political than this. Punching a Winnie the Pooh doll with a North Korean flag, and nothing happened to him.
You are true.
So, I mean, it just shows you that only China, I mean, even North Korea isn't as sensitive as China is and insecure.
Well, I think they're less powerful.
Yeah, of
I
course.
think that's actually what
But,
this is.
I mean, it's crazy because if the IOC or the Olympic stuff ever want to say like, oh, that Taiwan stuff was political, so that's why we had to do it. Why didn't you do anything about this then?
I know.
You know? It just shows you guys are full of crap, you know?
Yeah, it's very biased towards China.
Yeah,
guess
you
they
see, he even
didn't
goes. He walks right up to the North Koreans. There, they're holding their North Korean flag. They've got all their flags, and he's punching Winnie the Pooh.
That is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, it is. It's hilarious. And no IOC staff member came up to harass him or take his Winnie the Pooh flag away.
It's weird though, because the Winnie the Pooh thing is about China.
Yeah,
but I guess it just whooshed.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Or there just wasn't anyone around to grab.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the Chinese nationalists were there waiting. You know what I mean?
No, you know what?
What?
I think I know what happened.
What?
You know how the people here seem to really favor authoritarian countries.
Yes.
They saw him and they're like, "Oh, Kim's here." Just don't.
Yeah,
let him do his thing.
Let him do his thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I just love that he's punching.
Like, what
it's just so hilarious. It's really funny.
That is very funny.
Yeah,
that was very funny.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been seeing a lot of these clips recently.
Yeah, what's going on at the beach?
I was like, why are people driving their cars into the sea?
Yeah.
In China?
Yeah.
I couldn't really figure it out. I'm like, maybe the tide came up. Maybe they went down for a photo or something. I don't know. But it seems rather bizarre that there's a lot of cars in the sea.
Yes.
You know, good luck getting that out.
Like, I think what's happening here is people go, they're trying to skirt the sea, drive around a little bit in it. You know what I mean? Oh, I got 4-wheel drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe a
lot of
that.
them are SUVs.
Yes, and see this 4-wheel drive tractors trying to pull them out. It's not really working.
There's like a rash of this thing. So we were like, why would people be doing this? And we actually ended up figuring it out.
Yeah, we think we figured it out. I'll show you in a minute after you see these, you know, this whole situation. Yeah, you're not getting that out, bro. It was a dumb idea to go drive into the water. So I guess somebody figured something out, all right?
Yes.
They figured out that seawater is free.
Okay.
And you can wash your car using the seawater.
Oh,
it's
so
free.
they're pulling right up to it.
By the way,
the tide comes in, right?
Yeah, by the way, don't do this.
Oh, yeah. I guess we have to do a PSA.
Do you know that seawater is the last thing you want on your car? If you want your car to corrode and start rusting really quickly, go ahead.
That's why people that live near the ocean, their cars corrode so quickly.
Yeah, it's
because
the salt.
It's the salt water in the air. Even.
Yeah,
if
it's
you're
in the
dumping
air.
it directly on your car,
Yeah.
I think that's a terrible idea.
Just don't do it. But you can see like he's doing it. There's another guy in the yellow car's doing it too. So I think maybe word got around that you can go wash your car for free. Maybe that's why those other guys went down there and then the tide came up.
You're probably right.
I mean, it's possible.
You're probably right.
Yeah, guys don't do that, by the way. Stupid idea.
Don't you even think about it.
Yeah.
I will take away that bucket and mop from you.
Yeah. Even if the seawater's free, not this. Oh, boy. You know, it wasn't that long ago that I did a video about cardboard elevator repairmen.
It was
right?
a while ago, but it's still probably going on.
How about this? This is a public use lifesaver, right?
I'm not talking about the candy.
Yeah, exactly, like a life ring, but it's just a picture. I mean, you can't make it up, right? It's like
You know what happened here. There's one of two things. The devil's advocate thing is there was supposed to be one there and someone took it.
sure.
And that I guess the picture shows you where to put it. The other possibility, and this is where I'm leaning towards because
Yeah.
I've seen things in China. Somebody got the phone call and said, you need to have this signed up. They get a JPEG in their email
Yes,
or whatever,
yes.
and they go, okay, you need to put this up.
Yeah.
Implying you need to put up a life ring. But they're like, instead of putting up the life ring, they're like, oh, they just print out the picture and make a billboard of it.
And I'm sure that's what happened because there's no hook there to hang one on.
You're absolutely
There's
right.
nothing there to show that one ever existed.
Yeah.
There's no like water damage or anything. It's literally just a picture of it, and then it probably like that's good enough for an inspection. They walk past. Oh, you have one over there.
Yeah,
You know?
because like think about it. If people are going to be photoshopped on top of roads floating there, like looking onto their project or whatever, then what do you think? What do you think is happening?
Also, if you had a sign to say like this is a public use whatever life ring, you wouldn't need the picture of it.
Right.
And they made this picture look all 3D. So from a distance, it would look like it's there.
Yes.
It would absolutely. I mean,
You're
know,
right.
Look,
No,
it's
you're
got
right.
little shading on it and everything.
You're right. Yeah.
So-
So like if you're like taking photos and be like, did they put up the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. They did.
Yeah, in a photo, it would look like there's a real one. If you're like down there somewhere taking a photo, look, it's got shadows or reflections on it and everything.
Yeah.
you
It's
know?
kind of well done, right?
Yeah, it's made to look like it's there.
That's very funny to me.
Yeah,
It's also horrible.
that's very China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, we have a message.
Absolutely. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut health support and is backed by multiple research studies, so you can trust what you're putting in your body. We absolutely love AG1. It's the quickest, healthiest thing you can do in the day. You got your vitamins, minerals, your gut support, everything, all the nutrients that you need for the entire day. Takes a few seconds. Ding, 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 in a cup. Drink
Yeah.
it. Tastes good, and you know that you are on the right track for everything you need.
Yes.
We don't have the healthiest diet in the entire world.
Nope.
We like to eat junk. We like to mess around.
I mean,
right?
pizza's awesome.
Yes. But we also know that when we drink AG1, we're getting everything that we
Correct.
need.
It helps a lot.
We absolutely love it. I know my body, if my gut isn't functioning optimally, it'll be more challenging to absorb nutrients from my healthy diet or
Unhealthy
diet like us. I wouldn't say we're unhealthy.
No,
I'd just say
but
we're,
not the like model citizens
Yes.
when it comes to
I'd
a
say we're
healthy
like a
diet.
6 out of 10.
Yeah.
With AG1, I'm prioritizing gut support. In a research study, AG1 doubled the amount of healthy bacteria in your gut, including 2 species known for supporting gut and whole body health. If there's one product I trust to support my whole body health, it's AG1, and that's why we've partnered with them for so long. It's easy and satisfying to start your journey with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/ADV. That's drinkag1.com/ADV. Check it out. And that's ADV like adventure.
Yeah, please check it out. And thank you once again to AG1 for sponsoring this video.
Yes.
It's a great product, and that's why we stand behind it.
Next.
Yeah, next, let's move on. I will bring up the next little segment over here. And it's...
I heard a
You heard a thing?
sound.
My favorite part of the show, everybody. We're going to hit into slupaganda. Well, that's not slupaganda.
That's great.
Great. Yeah.
Okay, now
here we
it's-
go. Slupaganda. Now, for those of you who don't know, slupaganda is where China tries to do some kind of propaganda and it falls short. May I introduce you to all to the, wait for it, CCP Poetry Slam.
Yeah, so we were digging around on Chinese state media,
Yeah.
and they did this. Actually, they have been doing this
For-
very weird thing.
Yeah, for about 2 years now, a year and a half or something.
I mean, they've broken it down into seasons. Like,
Yeah.
it's something you're going to tune into, and it has gotten zero traction.
Zero, no one cares.
It's basically trying to get people around the world to read a poem.
Yeah, it's poetry without borders or something.
It's relatively inoffensive. Like, it's on a propaganda channel run by the Chinese propaganda government wing.
Yes.
But it's like relatively... It's not offensive. Well,
I don't know. I'd say it's pretty offensive.
I mean, it's not super like propaganda. We saw some Belt and Road poems in there.
Yeah, literally poems about the Belt and Road and stuff.
But most of them are just very weird.
Yeah, so I put together a little supercut so that you guys get an idea of what we're talking about here. So I'll get us out of here, and I'm going to play it for you uninterrupted. Okay. Let's do it.
This is not easy to understand.
Приятно думать у лежанки, но знаешь, не велеть ли в санки?
For old long sign. For old long sign, my dear. For old long sign. We'll take a cup of kindness yet? For old long sign.
From tomorrow on, I will be the happy man, roaming, trucking, and traveling all over the world. From tomorrow on, I will care foodstuff and vegetable. I will care foodstuff and vegetable.
捐救长江尾，
For it may bring consolation to us constantly.
恭迎长江水。
Sound the flute, now it's mute. Bird's delight, day and night, nightingale in the dale. Lark in sky, merrily, 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 to welcome in the year.
Does my sexiness upset you? Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting on my side? My side.
It's nightingale in the dale. Here I am, come and lick my white neck. Let me pull your soft wool. Cock does crow, so do you. Let me kiss your soft face. Come and lick my white neck.
And fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well while, and I'll come again, my love. Though it were 10,000 miles.
Even in bed, my ideas yawn towards you.
I'm sorry, but that's just...
What the heck did I just watch?
It's very cringe, and it's very inappropriate, I feel, some of it.
Oh my gosh. All right, so we don't know anything about poetry. You guys can school us in the comments. I'm sure that these are all well-known poems. But...
This is not a well-known poem, by the way.
Okay, no, that was self-made, he said.
I will care food, staff, and vegetable.
I don't think this guy knows what a poem is. He goes, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Yes.
It was like his list of things I need to do.
The thing is, like, when you translate the Chinese subtitles, it means basically food and vegetables.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to say
his
food stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But he said food staff. Food staff and vegetable. I will care food staff and vegetable.
I love the white dude, the British dude.
Which one?
The
lick my neck.
And you guys will
Lick
be like,
my
that's a
white neck."
famous poem, blah, blah. I don't care. You got a white dude saying, lick my white neck.
Yes. Yeah.
In this context of all these random poems. And it's very weird on a propaganda channel.
It's incredibly strange.
It's super weird.
Yeah, I must say, there was a lot more cringe stuff because they got people in different languages and stuff too. But oh man,
can you lick the white neck again?
Okay, I'll play that segment one more time.
Vegetable.
捐救长江尾，
For it may bring consolation to us constantly.
恭迎长江水。
Don't drink from the river in China.
Sound the flute,
This guy.
now it's mute. Bird's delight, day and night, nightingale in the dale. Lark in sky, merrily, 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 to welcome in the year.
Does my sexiness
Don't play this
upset
part
you?
again. I
Does
meant the
my
guy. Oh, come on, stop. Don't. Move on.
I'm just saying.
I can't see this again.
If I buy a lot of secondhand cars, right?
Don't.
What?
Don't.
What?
No, we do not judge appearances. Move on.
It's not appearances. I was saying
no smells or anything.
Well,
okay, I heard car.
When you get into like an old car, and it happens to be okay. All right, I won't say it. I want to say it, but I won't say it.
I want to see the lick the neck. All right,
Okay,
that's
well,
what I'm here for.
This woman makes me very uncomfortable.
That's fine, but I want to see the lick the neck because I
Okay.
like what you did with the edit with the neck. That's what I'm here for.
Sure.
Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds
Why'd you have
at
to
the
play this
meeting on
again?
my side?
It's part of it.
My side.
Stop!
You know what the worst part about
I
this?
can't look.
The worst part about this is this poem that she's reading is a poem for black empowerment, like black women's empowerment. And in the poem, she says, "And I am black," or whatever, my black soul. And I'm like, well, you know.
Well, I guess it's a famous poem, right? Honestly, all of these poems are probably famous poems. I love the Old Lang Syne.
Yeah, because that's...
But not sung.
Yeah, it's just reading the song lyrics. It's very
Without the
weird.
tune, it's
Yeah,
very
exactly. It's
weird.
very strange.
It's like
Very
in the cuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Nightingale in the dale. Here I am, come and lick my white neck.
What? Like why?
Let me pull your soft wool. Cock does crow.
I mean, just that. It's a really random line of a poem, that. I'll tell you that much.
So do you.
So do you.
Let me kiss your soft face. Come and lick my white neck.
I love that his white neck is there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It was just begging for that.
Yeah,
edit,
exactly.
wasn't it? Oh my gosh.
And
This guy's
fare
dub
thee
is amazing,
well, my
though.
only love, and fare thee well while, and I'll come again, my love.
I love that mild.
Though we were 10,000 miles.
You know what I love about that one?
What?
My favorite thing about that one is that it reminds me of the doll episode that we did.
Oh, yes.
With the guy holding the
Yes,
rose.
my darling.
My
That one.
darling.
Yeah,
You know, doesn't it? It's the same
yeah.
energy. You know?
It's exactly the same.
Very suave, you know. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's move
Good
on.
stuff. Let's move on, yes.
Even in bed, my ideas yawn towards you.
That hopefully does not become a soundbite because I actually can't tolerate that.
It's kind of gross.
I'm intolerant.
It's kind of gross.
Especially with the sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
So, again, this kind of thing annoys me to no end.
why? Why?
You know, on Twitter, it's not just Twitter, all social media, you occasionally get these things about China's living in the future.
Yes.
So this says, Chinese are living in 2070 by themselves while the rest of us are still in 1999.
Yes.
Now, the thing is, this particular post got millions of views.
Yes, it did, didn't it? Get like 3 million views or something?
It was 8 million.
I'm trying to
I
look.
think.
Pretty
sure.
It doesn't show.
It got millions of views.
Trying to see if I can pull it up.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't say. But it was a lot.
It got a lot of views. Okay. Let's take a look at this reason as to why China is living in 2070 while the rest of us are stuck in 1999. Let's take a look.
Okay. Best year ever, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right.
Yes. So what is our reasoning here for living why China's in the future? Is a plastic fish trap? Is that for
Apparently
real
so.
though?
By the way, let's take it even a little further than this. Okay.
Okay.
Fish traps have been around since like humanity was born.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the beginning of mankind.
Yeah, it's not something new. It's not the future.
No.
Whoever made that post is dumb.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope they were joking, but I don't think so.
I don't think so, because the comments that were coming up is like, wow, they're so advanced, or this is
Yes.
so amazing. Like, a lot of people were actually shocked.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it doesn't just end there. We'll read you some of these comments, okay? So some guy said, sure. And then, this is straight facts. The rest of us are playing catch-up. You see, that's the kind of thing that talking about.
Yes.
Why would someone say that? They are truly living in the future.
Because of a plastic fish trap.
Yeah. Okay. But of course, you had normal people commenting on this as well. People that have some like rationale, you know. I used almost all this. You know.
You mean 1070?
Yeah, you mean 1070? Yeah, exactly. Fish traps are Stone Age technology. It's true. All right. But the plot thickens.
Does it?
Yes, can't wait to eat like it's in 2070. I mean, that looks so unappetizing
Raw
to me.
carp and eels.
Yeah.
This is our future, guys.
Gross. Yeah. Yeah, it's like seriously. You
How
can't.
novel.
Yes, how novel, and it shows this. I mean, come on, guys, we know this is nonsense, but the fact that people were duped into this, I guess it's maybe people just who don't fish or something.
Yeah, I guess.
And they're like, oh, look, she threw this UFO-looking thing in, and look at this massive bounty that
you
she
think
got.
it was that, huh?
It must be.
I guess.
But people started to point a couple of things out here. Like, the holes are very small, and like, look at the size of the entrance.
Yeah.
It's impossible for a fish that size to have gotten into it.
This looks like either a minnow or an eel trap, right? Which something gets fit through this hole, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole way it works is you've got like a cone shape, so they go in through it, but they can't find their way back out.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So it's not a big hole.
No.
But again, like those traps exist for thousands of years, bro. I like these kind of things. It's true though, because if you look at the size of the fish that came out of it.
Stop carping on about this. Sorry, I had to read that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, stop carping on about it. Yeah.
These are all over like Temu and Alibaba and all that.
I mean, it's just a simple plastic. It's actually supposed to catch like eels and stuff. Isn't it?
It's an eel trap. So,
It's
like
an
I
eel
said,
trap.
it's you go through the hole.
Yeah.
You have to. The hole has to be small so they can't come back out. Right?
Yes.
I should stop doing this.
Yeah, please,
I
please
won't
do
that.
Please
I had
do.
the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Picture this as an eel,
Yes.
not a male member.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so they don't come out here. But how would a carp, a good 6-8 inch carp, that would sorry.
Yeah.
A large fish go
Yes.
in there and then you can't get in there. Can't fit in the hole.
It's not possible. So obviously it was a setup, and you can see there is a cut. She threw the fish trap in there. They pulled it out. They put a bunch of fish and eels and whatever the hell else in there, and then they like threw it back in and pulled it out just for the ad. In fact, before we finish that up, let me go back to the original video so you guys can see how it works. So like we don't need to watch that again. Okay, so look, first of all, she puts in...
Yeah, this is what I wanted to say. That's a good $5, $10, $15 of meat there.
Yeah, she puts in a massive piece of pork
belly.
Yeah. Into the fish
That's
trap.
a big piece of bacon.
Yeah, look at that. Throw it in there.
That could be used in many dishes.
Yes.
To catch some gross ass fish.
Yeah.
I love fish, but you're not eating carp and eels.
No.
Not that kind.
No.
You know what I mean?
Anyway, take a look. So there's a cut, obviously. There she throws it in. And then,
let's get some inferior meat.
yeah, exactly, with good meat. She throws it in, and then it cuts to this, obviously, because they pulled it back out, put all this fish and junk in it. And then just take a look at the size of the carp that come out of that. And it's just stupid to think that they fit inside those little cones. Look.
Yeah, I mean, she dumped it out of the hole after they took the cap.
Yeah, you have to take the cap off. Yeah. Those fish would not have fit.
That's marketing.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't buy anything that is unsustainable, by the way. Mm-hmm. And you'd have to check your local laws before you're trapping any fish.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Anyway.
So, yeah, you get it. It's just stupid. And again, this whole idea that China is living in the future and you show some ancient primitive technology of how to, like, outfish the river.
Yes.
Not great. Okay, time to move on to Beyond the Great Firewall.
That's a stupid sex.
Stupid song.
Stuck in my head.
Yeah. So bad. Yeah.
All right. So this is called, we had this on our
Shaban Ho, we showed this already.
So you guys already, if you're a hoe and you're
Yeah.
on our Patreon, you've already seen this, but this is a little treat for you guys. This is called Revenge of the Shrimp.
Revenge of the Shrimp.
And it's about the mukbangs that go on in China, basically the live streams of people that eat on camera with the audience, and they usually want to cook something or eat something outlandish.
Yeah.
And so in this one, she's trying to cook a live mantis
Well, this
shrimp.
is not outlandish. There are seafood restaurants all around
Oh,
China.
yeah, no. I'm saying for maybe a Western audience, it'd be kind of weird if they walked into a restaurant and somebody was live streaming cooking a live animal.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's quite common, and you get lots of these, because in China, if it's fresh, that's what you want. It has to be fresh, right?
Yes.
So you get lots of dishes like that, drunken shrimp, you
Yes.
know, where it's like live shrimp that they throw inside of alcohol and then you eat
I've
them
had
live.
that.
Yeah.
I've had that, yeah.
But one thing that took off just before I left China were these seafood restaurants where you cook live seafood.
Yes.
And they have like a pot, like a steamer on either a pot or a steamer.
Because people want fresh stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you cook them and you watch them die and then you eat them. So this is Revenge of the Shrimp. She's trying to cook this mantis shrimp. Let's take a look.
Mantis shrimp's like, I'm not going to get in that hot water.
Yeah.
With that crab.
She's trying again.
It's grabbed her. She said.
Yeah. And it has, like you can see it actually like penetrated her skin.
Yeah.
And she's live streaming.
I think she forgot too.
Yeah, see she's got her microphone and
Yeah.
everything.
It's, by the way,
Yeah.
and I don't want to diminish this, but I do want to diminish her reaction. There is no way this hurts that bad. You got a fish hook stuck in you and stuff. It sucks, right? This is nowhere near that.
Sure.
It's just a mantis shrimp.
I know.
And I've gotten stuck on them when I'm eating them cooked, you know?
Yeah.
You're not screaming.
Yeah. Still, that video fills me with joy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just kill stuff before you eat it.
Yeah, exactly. No need to cook things alive. Anyway, this is actually quite a nice, positive
Yeah.
video, I would say. Let's just paraphrase what's
We'll
happening.
just paraphrase, you can turn it down. So basically, there's this guy selling some stuff, some street food, right?
Yeah.
And this guy is interviewing him. It's just a, rural dude.
Yeah.
And he basically says, what do you think about China winning all the gold medals? He goes, what does he say?
He says, that doesn't mean anything to me. They can win as many gold medals as they want, but I'm still here selling this street food.
Yeah, meaning like my position's still low in life.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me at all.
Which I thought was a really interesting way to give you guys some perspective about the average person. The average person isn't walking around worshiping the party, right?
Yeah.
They're just trying to get by in
Correct.
China, right?
And a nice thing is that somebody also asked him, like, what do you think about America? Do you think America's bad? And he was like, I don't know. Like, I don't interact.
How would I think it's bad?
How would I know? No Americans come to buy my stuff.
Right.
How would I know, you know?
Right. He didn't say, yes, I hate America, right?
So it's positive.
It's good to see the other side of things. Because, yes, when you troll around on the internet, on the Chinese internet, all you see is hatred for America, right?
Yeah.
The average person in China is not necessarily hating America. They're told to by the government, and that's what you see in the media.
Yeah.
But the average person walking around in the streets probably just trying to get by.
Yeah.
Right? And that's our experience in China, too, is that the average person's suffering.
Yeah.
Right? They're making nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's just nice to see something down to earth.
Yes.
You know, and positive.
Yeah.
Because there's no need for animosity and hatred towards each other, you know. It's good that this guy's just chill.
Yeah.
Nice to see.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd share something a little positive there. Oh man, that
That's
poetry
stuck in my
slam
head.
crap is so annoying.
I kind of wish you didn't put that together.
Well,
You know what I mean? I love
yeah.
what you did.
I had
but
to.
I kind of wish I would rather not have seen it. You know what I mean?
I got these horrible visions of
Me too.
of like
Yeah.
necks being licked
Some
by like
white necks.
old women.
Yeah. So, your edit kind of implied that.
It's just
That's your
yeah.
fault.
It's I feel very uncomfortable about that, to be honest. It's kind of making me feel a little weird. Okay, something we've talked about
a million times,
so many times.
'Cause we saw
Finally,
it
we
over
could
and
show
over.
it. We
Yeah.
could show it to you. To be a farmer in China sucks.
Yes.
Okay, it's very hard work, incredibly hard work, especially in these rural areas. These guys work themselves to the bone. They earn no money. They just it's like subsistence.
We were talking about this before the show.
Yeah.
Particularly with this clip. We're like, imagine you're the farmer. You make nothing.
Nothing.
And all you see is rich people rolling up in traffic jams, stealing your fruits and vegetables.
Yeah. And this happens. We've seen it with our own eyes.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
It's almost a guarantee.
And the thing is, it's always people with money that are
Yes.
doing it. It's
Yes.
not the poor people
Nope.
aren't doing it. Look, she's in a really fancy car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind that.
Oh, that's
Okay.
coming soon.
Yeah, but you see, she's in a fancy car.
Yeah.
But she gets out to go and steal fruit from the trees of this poor farmer who is really just trying to subsist.
So like what I was saying before the show, we were talking about this. We were like, you're a guy making hundreds of RMB per month. right?
Yes,
You're
which
talking
is nothing,
like
$10.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking, some of these people are like you said, barely making profit over this, right?
Yeah.
You have people that are pulling in maybe 1,000 or 2,000 RMB per year sometimes in profit on top of this. So you're talking about hundreds of dollars of profit. That's it, right?
Yeah.
These people are barely squeaking by. They barely get any subsidies.
Yes.
There's no welfare or anything like this. Remember, we watched that documentary about these guys. They're like, what are you talking about welfare? We don't get anything from the government, right? How are we supposed to survive?
Yeah.
There is no free health care.
Correct.
Right? Everything costs money. It's like, all the bad things about America are in China.
Yeah.
But everything is, most people
Scaled.
are poor. And you scale it, right?
You got to scale it, yeah.
So you're in a situation where these people losing their crops. Now they're not going to go buy from them at the stalls when they get into the town because they just stole it all, right? And it's just, there's nothing they can do. And we were talking about this. The farmer can't do anything.
Yeah, because the people in the car have money and influence. Because they've got money, if the farmer tries to cause trouble, the police will side with the people that have the money.
Yes.
And it's a horrible situation.
Yes.
So we just wanted to demonstrate and show you like exactly what happens because we've talked about it. We've seen it with our own eyes, but now there's some proof for you guys to see.
It's a bad country to be poor in.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have no recourse.
Yeah,
it's all about who you know, what party connections you have, and you will get away with anything.
Yeah, exactly. Shameful.
It's no good.
Yeah. So
so this is kind of important because this is going to tie into what we covered on our Monday show, which is Xiabanhou. Xiabanhou is our show every single Monday that we cover topics that we can't cover on YouTube. It's democratically voted upon by you. And I wanted to come up with a topic that you guys actually voted on. It was about like what China's favorite Western things are, because it's different than what you might think. It's stuff from the West that catches on in China.
Yeah.
And this is a great example. This Lotso bear from Toy Story 3 is still currently a very hot item.
Yeah.
People want Lotso bear. There's wraps on people's Lamborghinis in China. People buy the plushie.
Yeah.
People buy
the toys.
Yeah, you can play the next frame. This is a storefront just the other week. Somebody posted this on Reddit. They're selling lots of. Is this a main character in Toy Story?
No, he's like he's a villain.
He's a villain.
Yeah.
Right? So we were thinking about like, what is some of the weird stuff that Chinese people latch onto from the West? So we covered all different topics.
Yeah.
About like what bands they love, what movies and shows they love. And we have a little clip of what we covered.
Yeah, let's take a look. It'll get us out of here. It should start.
I don't know.
I love you, love you, love you.
I love you, love you, love you.
He's like stumbling around drunk. The Nazi insignia. They love that too. It's like, dude, you probably shouldn't have that on your car.
It's so bad.
It's literally like if you took confetti and threw it at someone. I feel like it's aimed specifically at Chinese women of a certain age.
You're so right, dude. This is fried squid and savory items with Oreos in the crust.
I just can't find a sandwich. What the hell? It's like you almost want to like commit or something at that point because you can't find a freaking sandwich. Yeah. So by the way, if you guys are curious, that's our Monday show. It's a VIP show. It's called Xiabanhou. If you have the means, please join us over at patreon.com/ADV podcasts and join the Xiabanhou tier.
Yes. By the way.
Yeah.
The first thing that you just saw, I don't know.
Yeah.
What is your name?
Yeah.
That is not Chinese.
No.
Sometimes on Xiabanhou, and that's a good little glimpse, we like to cover things, and actually a good dude, Doc, here in the chat recommended that we play some sound bites from that very specific clip, but we just showed it to you in the ad because we want you to know we don't always cover China stuff too.
Oh yeah, the Xiabanhou is
anything we're interested in.
Yeah, a lot of different things.
Stuff you submit to us. Yeah, right? It's really fun.
It's a fun show. It's very it's very close knit and democratic, and it's a lot of fun.
Tell me of your name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, good name.
Oh, good name.
Please join us. Like I said, if you have the means, we'd love to see you there. Anyway, it's time for us to move on. What are we moving on to now? Soft Power Hour.
We're going to Soft Power Hour.
Yeah, this is actually Soft Power Hour, and this is where we tell you how China tries to change your mind through various means. There's been this fantastic interview recently.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've heard about it, but we wanted to give our commentary on this, and we wanted to go through it quickly with you, at least some of the highlights.
So to set this up, there is a guy that works for the Chinese government. His name is Victor Gao.
He's a very obnoxious human being.
Well, I think you'll.
We've had him on the show.
Not as a guest.
No, but we've had him on the show
That's what it sounds
when he was
like.
threatening Australia because
Yeah.
they were getting nuclear-powered submarines,
Yes.
not nuclear-armed.
Yeah, just nuclear power.
Yeah, just nuclear powers, yeah.
You guys can come up with your own conclusions, what you think about him. But he's interviewed by this guy named
As long
Eddie.
as you have the opinion that he's obnoxious.
Yes, then you're allowed to stay.
Yeah.
Anyway, what they did was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He came to represent China, and Mehdi was the debater to bring up some issues that people have with China.
Yes.
And they had a panel. It was very reasonable, too. They had a Uyghur woman.
Mm-hmm.
They had a very mild critic of China. I liked him a lot, by the way. And then they had a pro-China dude. Well, seemingly pro-China. All his works seem very pro-China.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had a panel that they could bounce things off of while he interviewed Victor, right?
Yeah.
Now, this was shocking because it really, to me and to you and to the Chinese diaspora that translated this and put it in Chinese online, I was reading through, really pulled the wool off of people's eyes about how the Chinese government actually operates. So we have some of the scenes from it. We'll commentate on it as it goes
Yeah,
through.
and of course, this originally comes from Al Jazeera, and we do have a link in the description if you want to
Clearly,
see
it's
the
not
whole
one China. Clearly, you're accepting by definition if you need to reunify it. They are doing their own thing. And why this obsession with Taiwan? You are a country of 3.7 million square miles, a population 60 times that of Taiwan, economy 20 times the size of Taiwan. Why are you obsessed with Taiwan? Why not just leave them be?
In terms of defending China's sovereignty and territorial integrity, any inch of land is not 1 inch too much. Any one single person is not one person too many. So we need to achieve reunification.
Even though they don't want to be part of your country. 12% of the people of Taiwan say they want to reunify with China. 12%.
Mehdi,
you can't get more unpopular than that in that.
Mehdi, it's not up to the people in Taiwan to decide about the one China policy.
You're very blunt in your disregard for people's views, freedoms, dignity. You say that you don't care about what they think. How do you feel about the fact that at least 500,000, some say more, of your brothers and sisters are being detained in camps by the Chinese government?
And the reason he's saying brothers and sisters is Victor Gao has said that Uyghurs are his brothers and sisters, you know.
Imagine being a member of the Chinese government, well, at least previously worked for them and currently doing pro-CCP stuff, and saying that the Uyghurs are your brothers and sisters because they are simply in China. I mean, what a slap in the face to Uyghur people that are currently locked up in these camps. I'd like for you guys to listen to what he says about the genocide. It's very interesting.
I mean, look, that's literally like the Nationalist Party, the architects of apartheid in South Africa saying the Zulus are my brothers and sisters.
Yes.
You know?
It doesn't make sense, right?
Yep.
They had made them their enemy,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Let's see.
And that's 5% of the adult Uyghur population, one of the highest imprisonment detention rates in the world.
Mehdi, the Uyghurs are a proud ethnic group, one of the 56 ethnic nationalities in China. The Uyghurs, as far as I'm concerned, are my true brothers and sisters. I know many of them. I travel to Xinjiang regularly, and I talk to many of the Uyghurs. Now, if anyone is serious about accusing China of practicing mass injustice to the Uyghurs, give me the evidence.
Did Human Rights Watch say 500,000 people detained over the years in recent years?
You keep quote Human Rights Watch, and I tell you...
Do you know where they got those numbers from?
I don't know.
Can I tell you?
I don't know.
I thought you were the expert. You've been to Xinjiang. You've spoken to Uyghurs. You never heard these numbers?
I do not know where did they get the source.
So their source is the Xinjiang High People's Procuratorate, which has published its own statistics, Xinjiang official body, which says it's convicted 540,826 people prosecuted in the region since 2017.
So if you weren't following that, Victor is asking for his source. Where are these 500,000 Uyghurs?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to use Human Rights Watch? You're going to use Human Rights Watch? They've been discredited.
Yeah, where's the source of these numbers?
And he goes, okay. Do you know what the source is? The Chinese government.
Yes.
They published this.
Yeah, exactly.
They did it. It's from the procurator in Xinjiang.
Yes.
The CCP said, we imprisoned this many people, and they were proud of it.
Yeah, and those numbers are obviously massively downplayed.
Yes.
So more than that. But it's quite funny that he didn't know that those numbers came from his own government.
I love that was used because everyone knows it's more than that.
Yeah.
But Mehdi cleverly used the actual government figure,
Chinese
which is
government
downplayed,
figure.
like you said.
Yeah.
And he tried to refute it.
Yeah, he did. He said those numbers aren't true, but it was his own government.
Oops.
Yep. Oops. Yeah, let's see what's next. Because this is
it shows you when you lie and lie and lie, and the government's based on lies, right? You get caught up in it because you're like, what did we say before? What do we say now officially? I don't even know.
Not only that, they're not used to being challenged.
Yes, that's true.
The United Nations Office for Human Rights looked at satellite footage. They say 10 to 20% of the population. Amnesty estimates 1 million people in camps. 500,000 is a conservative number.
Mehdi, if you quote that organization, please be assured that that organization has been completely discredited for the false information they came up with.
I love this game we're playing. You give me a source, I give you a source. They're discredited. They've said falsehoods.
Mehdi,
how can we? Let me ask you a question. How many people are in detention in Xinjiang? You give me a number.
Listen. If you look at Xinjiang,
you give me a number.
If you look at, I do not have the number.
Why not?
Yeah.
Hold on. You can't say it's not 500,000 and then say you don't have a number. I have a number. I have sources. How many people do you think are detained?
Let me give you my reason.
No.
I go to Xinjiang a lot. I traveled almost
so they're your brothers and sisters.
Xinjiang.
You go there a lot, but you can't tell me how many people are in detention.
Listen, you pause it. This is so key, and this actually, it's so funny. We noticed we were talking about this before the show. Everything that Victor says in this interview lines exactly up with the state narrative of, and it's not surprising, but the state narrative we see out of the propaganda outlets, the shills, all those people, it's almost verbatim.
Yeah.
When they say, oh, well, I've been there, I see it. I can see it with my own eyes. You can go there, buy the visa, or you can get it. You don't need a visa. You can just go there and see for yourself, right?
Yeah.
And it's verbatim. They use these party talking points exactly to the audience and to this Mehdi guy, thinking that this is going to work.
It's ridiculous. It's like, oh yeah, well, I mean, you can come look. Like somebody who's stolen something.
Right.
Oh yeah, come look in my room. It's not there. But then if someone actually tries, they're like, wait.
Don't open that drawer.
Yeah, it's like, no, okay, come into my room, but don't look in that corner.
I didn't steal your wallet. It's not in that corner.
Yeah,
Can I go look at the corner? No. It's not under that blanket in the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what this is, and it's crazy because people used to laugh with this comparison when we used to make it, but it's how North Korea has their tourism industry.
Yes.
You go through your pioneer tours or whatever, and you go to Pyongyang, and you go on a minded tour where you can't do anything on your own.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to go to certain areas, and you're corralled into certain areas, and it's a manicured, developed, artificial Potemkin life, whereas the whole rest of the country's starving. They're imprisoned. There's medical
forced
camps.
labor.
It's terrible.
It's horrible.
Right? Forced labor camps, families torn apart, all this kind of stuff. It's very similar to what happens in Xinjiang. And it's the same thing. Oh, go there for yourself. And you'll see what he says. Mehdi finally takes the bait and says, okay, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens here. Okay.
They are happier. They enjoy their life. They enjoy their Muslim practices and traditions. Listen.
How many people are in detention, Victor?
Mehdi, let me be philosophical.
No, don't be philosophical. Be numerical.
No.
How many people are in detention? You said no to 500,000. How about, okay, let's let 250,000.
Let me finish my point.
Nope. You answer the question. You can't filibuster, Victor, on the show.
How many
people
promotes
do you
Xinjiang
think
independence, they will be dealt with in
Got
court.
it. How many of them are in court? How many in detention?
A very small minority.
So you don't have a number. You say they're all happy, but you won't let in independent investigators. You won't let in journalists to go there.
Why not?
They're not allowed to go there.
I will be happy to escort you to Xinjiang.
Really?
Escort.
I can make that promise.
Really?
I will speak to the Chinese government.
Here's the problem,
to
Victor.
the Chinese
I don't
embassy.
want to escort. I don't want minders. I want to go freely. Will you allow that?
I do not make that decision.
Oh, Stephen, let me ask you this question.
I mean, how perfect is that, right? When cornered, because this is the current thing, and I think this really has just flipped the tourism industry on its head. If anyone's paying attention to this, because China's narrative is that don't listen to Winston, don't listen to Matt, don't listen to any of these other people, especially don't listen to these millions of Chinese dissidents around the world, right? There's nothing bad happening here.
Yeah,
you can go there. And it's totally fine. And he says, okay, but I don't want minders. I don't want people to follow me around.
Yeah.
Can you make that promise? It's not my decision.
It's not my decision.
Because you will be minded the whole time.
I made a video. It's called China's Genocide Theme Park.
Yes.
And there are certain parts in Xinjiang that everybody goes. The Urumqi Grand Bazaar.
Yep. We mapped it out, right?
Yeah. Kashgar, Ancient Town, the Hotan Night Market. And there are 4 places. And those are the only places that foreigners are allowed to go. And those are the only places you ever see.
Yep.
You know, you get this huge plethora of these videos out there these days of people like, I went to Xinjiang and there's no genocide. But if you look at the places they go, it's always the same places. It's never to where the camps are, which, by the way, are thousands of miles, sometimes hundreds of miles away from where these these tourist areas that they go to.
Even if they're 1 mile, would you know? Would you be able to go inside?
Yeah.
There's plenty of satellite footage. There's that guy that smuggled the footage out and ran away to America, right? There's plenty of evidence. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of Uyghurs that have fled and told stories about what happened that are still not in contact with their family members that are locked up, right? There is the whole Xinjiang police database that was hacked. And now we have thousands of police records for people that were arrested for reading the Quran, sometimes children. So there's so much evidence in support of this, it's not even funny, yet China keeps saying, where's the evidence? The evidence is right in front of us.
Where's the evidence? Come see it for yourself. Only if you go to these very specific spots where we can make sure that you cannot see anything bad going on.
You know what a good analogy is?
What's that?
Imagine this. Imagine you're having a debate or an argument, right? And you tell me that America's got a very bad gun violence problem. And you use statistics from the south side of Chicago. There's 40 shootings over the 4th of July weekend, or whatever you say, right?
Sure.
And it's out of control. And I say, absolutely not. There is no gun violence in America. And I can prove it to you. You know how? You're going to come to my house in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Sure.
And we're going to go around that area, around the retirement homes. And I'll show you there is zero gun violence. I will take you to the retirement homes and you will see that nobody is shooting each other.
Correct.
It's exactly the same thing.
I use this argument all the time. Having lived in America now for 5+ years.
Yes.
I haven't seen any gun violence, and I haven't seen anyone shoot a gun. I've barely even seen a gun unless somebody's shown me their collection.
Yes.
You know, out in public, I've never seen a gun. I've traveled the whole country. I have literally driven coast to coast, and we've traveled a lot. And we have a lot of friends who own guns and stuff, but you don't see them.
No.
So this whole anecdotal evidence, like he's saying, I have Uyghur friends and I travel there often. That's BS anyway. Right? It's the same as me saying, like, I've never seen guns, therefore gun violence doesn't exist in America.
Right, and you would never say that.
Yeah, because I know it does.
Yes.
And that's because there's an open press.
Yes.
People can tell, you know.
Yeah, we did a poll here with our audience. Remember, it was something like 80 or 90% of our audience, I can't remember, 80 or 90% of our audience has never seen a shooting.
Yes.
Right? But they believe that there's gun violence.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's reported.
It's the
Victor's
same thing.
making a lot of promises tonight about me going to Xinjiang and Rehan going to Xinjiang, and everyone's going to be fine. How safe, how okay are you with visiting China? How free do you think you are when you go to China?
When I go to China, and I haven't been for some time, I'm watched almost 24/7. There's always someone I can spot who's trailing me. So I know when my hotel room is upgraded suddenly to a spacious suite, I'm now in a place which is bugged. So someone who's a mild critic and a scholarly critic like me doesn't feel safe in China. By contrast, I feel safer in Taiwan.
Victor, when you hear
I think that's so telling, by the way. This guy's barely a critic, right?
Yeah.
Very mild critic, professor.
Yes.
Wonderful. I looked up some of his work. Absolutely fantastic body of work. It's funny because I think a lot of people think, well, China's not North Korea, at least, right? And we really are there. When you have a professor that's getting bugged in a hotel, for what? It's not like he's starting political movements.
No.
It's not like he's inciting riots and revolutions, right? Guy is a professor.
Yeah.
He's a scholar, right?
Correct.
So when he has to go to China for something, let's say it's a seminar or something, and his room's getting bugged, what does that show you about the insecurity of the government?
Sure.
It's
exactly.
insane. I mean, that's Pyongyang.
I mean, we were followed around. We know what it's like.
Constantly.
Yeah.
For filming horses.
Yeah, exactly.
We had the PLA search us because we filmed horses.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
He doesn't feel that safe going to China, prefers going to Taiwan. When we talk about freedom of speech, for example, in China. I live in the United States of America, where I can say that Donald Trump is hypothetically, an orange-faced narcissist. I also live here in the UK, I'm British. Here you have Rishi Sunak, the former Prime Minister, was called a pint-sized loser by a Labour politician. No one in China has that kind of freedom to talk about their government, to talk about President Xi Jinping in that way. You can't say anything like that. You wouldn't dare say anything like that because you know what will happen to you when you go home. You know what will happen to your family. That's what China is.
Mehdi, if you do anything, write anything, email or chat to your friends about taking anything action against let's say, Prime Minister of Britain,
That's not what I
President
said.
of the United States,
I didn't say that.
you'll be dealt with
That's not
very
what I said.
swiftly.
Victor, you're a master of
In
straw man.
China,
He's a master of straw man. See, I changed it.
Yep.
Yeah, I changed it to like, oh, if you send emails about subverting the government, yeah.
But nobody brought that up.
No.
Nobody said taking action against the UK. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah,
It was
it's the
talking
fact
about
that you can-
criticism of the party and of the leadership.
Yeah, exactly. You can call like King Charles a dumbass.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
You can do that.
You don't have to support him.
You can't say Xi Jinping is a dumbass
No,
in,
and that's the point
China,
you made.
yeah.
I said Rishi Sunak was called a pint-sized loser. Would you call Xi Jinping a pint-sized loser?
Mehdi, each country has different sensitivities. In UK,
So you're admitting you can't criticize the Chinese government?
No. You can criticize the government if you are positive in your attitude.
You can criticize the government if you're positive.
Yes.
Is that the new philosophy?
No, if you can come up with your...
You've got to come up with nice insults.
No.
What?
Constructive advice.
Constructive advice.
For example,
Oh, I'm loving
in
this.
dealing with the aging population, what should be the government do? What should this governor should do?
But you can't say the president's lied. He's a liar.
No, you will be dealt with very swiftly in China. You cannot say that.
That is the most honest thing you've said tonight. Yes. Former Foreign Minister...
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
Yes.
At least he...
You can't even say the leader is a liar.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, and then at least you have a top government dude here in this chat, here in this debate, saying you will be dealt with swiftly.
Yeah.
And I'll give my thoughts on that when we wrap it up. We might as well finish this off.
Gang was removed from his post and has not been seen in public since June 2023. A few months later, China's Defense Minister, General Li Shangfu, disappeared from public view for months, has now been expelled from the party, accused of corruption. That's at least 2 ministers that disappeared just in the last year. With apologies to Oscar Wilde, to lose one minister might be unfortunate. To lose two is careless, is it not?
Do you know the point I want to make? This means China is really merciless in dealing with corruption of all kinds, even among the
Your
highest
foreign
ranks.
minister and defense minister. Imagine Antony Blinken and Lloyd Austin just disappeared tomorrow. We don't know where they are. We've never seen them again. That's not normal, Victor.
Listen, corruption is rampant in
How do we know
China.
they're corrupt? They just disappeared. Where's the trial?
Allow
Where's the
me
trial,
to finish my point. Corruption of all kinds in China need to be dealt with.
So where's
with
the trial?
Mercilessness.
So where's the trial? Where's the trial of the former foreign minister? We don't even know where he is.
Mehdi, those things you don't know doesn't mean doesn't happen.
Where is the trial for this man you're just accusing of corruption?
Qin Gang was my good friend for more than 20 years.
Where is he then?
He is involved in corruption.
Where is he?
And he is dealt with very swiftly.
Where is he, Victor?
Regardless of
He's your
the
good friend. You don't know where he is.
Regardless
Where
of the
is the
seniority
former foreign minister
of his
of China?
position.
This is not a hard question. We're not asking where Rehan's brother in the middle of Xinjiang is that you can dodge. Where is the former foreign minister of China who disappeared? And by the way, he wasn't accused of corruption. The spokesman came out and said he has health reasons. Then corruption came later, by the way. Where did he go, your friend?
That means there is a process. And the process is
starts
not
with
ju-
one lie that he's ill, and then the next lie is he's corrupt.
He may be ill. You never know.
I mean, he's probably ill after he's been in a Chinese prison.
He may be ill now.
Yeah.
You never-
You may be ill now. Isn't that just an admission of...
And it's, you know what's crazy is he says it with a bit of snark.
Yeah, you
and
can
it's
see
his friend.
Yeah, it's like, you may be ill now.
His friend got disappeared. And later he goes on to say, I'm glad these people are disappeared. Because they would
It's
cause
not his
more.
friend. It's definitely, yeah.
You know, I'm just,
It's not his
playing
friend.
by the books here.
He's
is
just
what
a
he said.
competitor
Yes.
in that game. It's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, again, you can see how China works.
Yeah.
It's very opaque when it comes to the government. They're very happy to just disappear people and then make excuses, say, oh, it was a health problem, and then no, it's corruption. Because they just cannot be honest.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
They can't deal with anything in a proper way.
Yeah, let's see
But
what
no,
it says.
but,
Exactly.
But at least
Where is
Qin
he?
Gang lost his job
Victor, where is
because
he?
of his corruption.
Last question.
That's the point.
Where is he?
He's somewhere in China. You will never see him.
Like,
He's
never,
among the one.
you will never see him.
How grim is that? He is. So, by the way, just in case you didn't catch that, Qin Gang is the former ambassador to the U.S. I mean,
Yes.
this is not like a provincial level dude, right?
No.
And then the foreign minister of China.
Yes.
Like the top dog that is supposed to represent China to the rest of the world, right? And vice versa. He's gone.
Yeah, and you will never see him. He basically said you'll never find him.
Yeah, you'll never see him. You'll never see him.
So you'll never see him again. So did they execute him?
And he goes on to he kind of backtracks later. I didn't put it in there. He backtracks. He goes, he's among the 1.4 billion people in China. Like, oh, there's just so many people. And it's like, yeah, you.
Yeah.
That's
0.4 billion people.
And no, it's not just him. There's many other people who have disappeared. The previous defense minister disappeared. The Ministry of Industry and Technology disappeared. The former Interpol president disappeared. In China, you just disappear if they don't like you. That's the rule of law in China.
I'm so happy they disappear, because if they keep doing their job, they will bring greater disaster.
Victor, be careful what you wish for, because everyone's watching this show, and if you get something wrong tonight, maybe you disappear.
That was like...
That is incredible.
As snarky and funny as that is, it's absolutely true.
Yes.
So many people, if they get something wrong, then they're gone.
Yeah.
That's how authoritarianism works, right? For example, you can be in the leader's inner circle, like Qin Gang, right? Very much on the right team. He was on the right team. Yeah, but I'm saying that's the wrong team, right?
Yeah, the wrong team. But
Qin Gang was in the right team.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He did something happened, right?
Got caught out doing something, or just
you don't
fell
even know.
out
He
of
could
favor.
just be on the wrong thing, wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
You know,
said the wrong thing. Spilled a glass of water on the table. Who knows?
Right?
This is a great one.
My question is, as a dissident from Hong Kong, knowing that I cannot express freely in Hong Kong or in the UK without risking other people in trouble, I also know that you just now made claims about there's free speech in China, and it's possible to criticize the Chinese government just now again. Can you please demonstrate that free speech and tell us what are Xi Jinping's 2 worst mistakes in the past 5 years?
Great question.
If you can demonstrate to us that it's okay to criticize Xi Jinping, the Chinese government, and China, or even just say Xi Jinping kind of resembles Winnie the Pooh, would be good enough for me. Thank you.
All right, can you pause it there real quick? I think her first question is excellent, because
the second question is a bit lame, but the first,
it's kind of played out. But the first question is fantastic because it wasn't inflammatory. Can you name 2 things that the president, or the leader of China? I don't like to say president.
Yeah.
The leader, he wasn't elected.
No.
The leader of China, you don't like about.
Basically 2 failures.
2 failures, right?
Yeah, what are his 2 biggest failures over the past?
Any person in the entire world that lives in a free country will, even if you love the leader, even if you respect the leader, will absolutely find some things wrong. My grandpa loved Ronald Reagan, right? He can absolutely probably name 10 things that he thought were failures of his.
Oh, his policy didn't work out well, or...
You get people that think Bill Clinton was the greatest modern president, but they will absolutely find things that
Monica Lewinsky,
or anything else,
Sure.
right? It may be policy failures, right?
Yeah, he plays a saxophone. That would be one of my things. That was one of his biggest failures. Exactly. He played that clip, little known fact. Yeah.
My point being, I think this is the greatest question you can ask, because anybody in their right mind should be able to come up with a couple things.
Yes. So again, they were like, what are Xi Jinping's failures?
Yes.
Did you want to take that question?
Well, thank you. I would say China need to make more take more prompt actions in dealing with the dramatic aging population in China and the dramatic demographic decline.
Do you think Xi Jinping's to blame for not being fast enough on aging?
No, I think the whole Chinese government, including the central...
Yeah, he can't answer it.
He can't do it.
He didn't say Xi Jinping. He said, I think China needs to this and that.
And he said no. He actually goes beyond that. He said no, not Xi Jinping.
Not Xi Jinping.
Him. No. He says no.
Yeah, because do you think Xi Jinping's the reason? He's like, no. The whole Chinese government.
Committee, state council, local government need to take actions quickly to reverse that dramatic aging population problem and demographic decline.
We're not going to get a criticism out of you.
We're not going to get a criticism out of you. He knows it.
He can't do it.
No.
You can't do it.
So if you've got, and this Victor Gao guy, he's obnoxious. I'm sure you agree with me now, by the way. If you're watching this, he's an obnoxious man.
Maybe you got some rare fans out there.
Yeah,
you know, like when you watch wrestling, people watch wrestling, some people root for the heel.
You like the evil guy, yeah? Okay. Yeah. He's obnoxious, but he's high up in the government. Yes. Okay, he's very high up. He used to be Deng Xiaoping's translator.
That's right.
So
he actually had some fantastic takes and great policy.
Long time ago. Yeah. The thing is, he's high up in the government, and he can't even criticize one thing that Xi Jinping's done.
Not one thing.
Not one thing.
Nope.
And Xi Jinping's made a lot of mistakes.
I liked earlier when he said, you can't even say that
he's
the
a liar.
leader's a liar.
Yeah,
he didn't
you'll
say
be
some
dealt with
obnoxious thing
swiftly.
like he's ugly or something.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's a liar. He lied about this. You're done. You're out. You will be dealt with swiftly on a personal level if you say that.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
And
your family.
Yes. He never denied the family thing.
No, never. All right, let's see. This is a Tibetan over here.
Yes.
Tibetan refugee, fled Tibet.
Question is, Tibet, after 74 years of Chinese rule, is still under lockdown. No journalists, no individual tourists, even Tibetans are not allowed to see their families. What is China afraid of to keep Tibet in such a tight control and Tibetans in such an inhuman existence in our own country?
Sir, ever since the Yuan dynasty, if not even earlier, Tibet has been part of China. Through different dynasties, different historical periods, I can assure you, during your lifetime and mine, Tibet will always be part of China.
Why are you so insistent on ruling places that don't want to be ruled by China?
No, Tibet is part of China. We've been through Tibet, Taiwan, they're not happy in Xinjiang. Tibet being part of China doesn't depend on whether you like it or not. It's a megatrend of our time.
A megatrend.
And you need to accept that before you will feel free to go back to China.
It's 5G.
You visit Tibet.
You sound like you're threatening the man.
No, I'm not.
You said you have to accept that before you can go back. He's from that place.
You live in peace in Britain, that's good.
But he's a refugee.
But if you want to go back to Tibet, acknowledge Tibet is part of China, period.
And what if he doesn't? He can't go back to his home?
You cannot go back. Because China doesn't want to see anyone advocating for the independence of Tibet.
Why can't
No
China...
way, that will never happen.
Victor, why can't China rest on its own merits? Why the bullying and the threats? We're going to break you to pieces, Taiwan. You can't go back until you sign this document or that declaration. Why the insecurity? Second biggest economy in the world, major power. You sound so insecure.
China's security rests on the principle that there is only one China. And Taiwan is part of China, Tibet is part of China, and Xinjiang is part of China. Period.
And even if the people there don't want to be part of it, you don't give a damn.
The majority of the people live happily as Chinese
How do we know?
citizens.
Did you do a vote?
I will go with you to
Tibet. We're going to go to Tibet and we're going to talk to all the Tibetans.
And possibly
I
also
can go to
Taiwan.
Tibet, but the guy who's from there can't go there. You sound ludicrous when you say this stuff, I'm sorry to say.
My question to you, sir. What's the Chinese government trying to hide from us?
He's a Uyghur.
Yeah.
Second,
okay.
Why can't we not talk freely with our families?
Okay. Yet another Uyghur. So many Uyghurs, the same story, the same questions.
I'm always very happy to see wherever I go a Uyghur person, because I do consider the Uyghurs as my brothers and sisters. On one condition, though.
Part of me is starting to feel sorry for your actual brothers and sisters.
No, on one condition, though, Uyghurs need to acknowledge that Xinjiang is part of China. That's a big precondition. If you do not accept that precondition,
hold on.
You are not my brother or sister.
Hold on, so that's fine. You don't have to be brothers and sisters, but can he not talk to his family?
It depends on where your family is. There are indeed Uyghur separatists who want to promote separatism of Uyghur,
but what about the people who are not separatists who just disappear?
Turn Xinjiang into East Turkmenistan. This will never happen.
Can't even get that right.
Listen to this. Call your friends to stick to the one China policy.
He just wants to talk on the phone to a family member.
He can't call his friends.
No, he can't. He can't. And the reason is he wants to contact his 82-year-old mother.
Yes. Do you think she's a separatist? How many people in the Xinjiang police files, if you go through the police records on the internet, you can go to the website right now, how many of those people are separatists?
Yeah.
The vast majority of them are not.
Correct.
They were not arrested for being separatists.
Yes.
So he's full of shit.
Yeah, he is. Let's see what this guy said.
I didn't speak to my mother. I want to speak to my mother. I am British Uyghur. I want to speak to my mother. Do you understand?
Literally support one China policy, support Xinjiang being part of China.
Victor.
Period.
Can you pause that? The imagery of this guy crying, like looking up, right? Red in the face, looking up. I just want to talk to my mother, who's been disappeared in China, an 82-year-old woman.
Yeah, for years.
He's speaking up, and then a Chinese official dude looking down and pointing, you have to acknowledge the one China policy. You know what I mean? How sick is that?
It's pretty bad.
It's bad imagery.
It's bad imagery, yeah.
No heart to see this man who can't speak to his 82-year-old mother. Is she a separatist?
I wish your mother is here in this hall talking to you. And
why don't you let her go? So then maybe she could.
But then on one condition, in China, zero tolerance of any separatist movement.
An 82-year-old woman is a threat to China. What does that say about China?
I hope she's not a separatist, but if she's a separatist, she will be dealt with by law. Period.
I mean, You just like...
He doesn't even know.
No.
I hope she's not. Because if she is, she'll be dealt with.
Perry.
Not like, I'm so sorry what happened to your mother. I'll see what I can do. Let's move on.
Yeah, it's just a threat.
You started yelling at him.
Yeah.
This
it's
poor
pretty
guy.
bad.
This has got to be the worst PR I've ever seen for the CCP. In the history of when we started looking at like what the Chinese government was doing, this is the worst PR I've ever seen.
Well, again, this has really just lifted the veil, so to speak, because so many and anyone who's been in this sphere, who's been following us, has been following the whole crazy China YouTube thing, would have seen over the years these useful idiots that have been defending the way China behaves, defending the whole Uyghur situation, on behalf of the CCP. And they always try to put a Western slant on it. They always try to make it seem as if it's necessary and it's good or whatever, They make a floral story out of it.
Yeah.
But in the end, from the horse's mouth, from the Chinese official here, you can see that is not the case. It is a brutal crackdown. They really don't care about people's families. No. They don't care about... They're not humane.
No.
They're not compassionate.
This was exactly... You know what this undoes?
What?
This undoes the billions, and I'm not kidding when I say the billions of dollars that they put into their Tell a Good China Story campaign.
Yes.
讲好中国故事, a multi-billion-dollar campaign from the CCP.
Yeah.
To tell China's story to you, to make you like the Chinese government and to paint like a rosy picture of the authoritarian situation in China. Yeah. This literally undoes all of that.
All of that.
Because if you watch this, you go, okay, this is actually how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't some facade of like a white dude in China saying, look at how amazing it is. This is the Chinese government.
Look, the Uyghurs are happy. They're dancing.
Right. This is the Chinese government that just said how it is.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Let's see how he concludes this, and then we'll give you our final thoughts.
Okay, sure.
Victor, before we finish, I have one question for you. We're in the UK. We're in Conway Hall, historic free speech society. Could we do a show like this? Could I interview you like this? Could Rehan come be on a panel like this in Beijing, in, say, the Beijing International Convention Center? Could we do a show like this? Audience members freely ask questions. You take questions from everyone. No one's vetted. No one's threatened. Could we do this in Beijing?
Mehdi, if you ask me to line up all the support, you will do that. Really, I can assure you that.
A show where every audience member gets to speak freely. No one turns up at their house afterwards.
For many European countries, you do not need a visa to go to China. Pick up your luggage and buy a ticket.
I'm not asking foreigners. Victor, I'm not asking foreigners to come. I'm saying, could a Chinese audience turn up and ask whatever they want, criticize Xi Jinping, criticize the government, ask you questions, talk about Uyghurs? Could you do it in Beijing?
Mehdi, in China, don't criticize our president.
So we couldn't do this show?
Unless you
I'm glad you
have
answered
a
the
very
question.
positive, constructive proposal to make.
From the horse's mouth. Don't criticize unless it's positive.
Criticism is not the only goal. Criticism with constructive purposes
is a goal.
Will be a better free speech.
Free speech is a goal we cherish on this show.
A better
I'm glad
free
to have
speech.
offered you a platform for free speech. I wish you could offer me one back.
Yeah,
I love the ending of that. But
I like that he says a better free speech as if you can only say positive things.
Well, you know
that is not free speech.
Well, you know what? That's so tracks, though, doesn't it? What does this track with? This tracks with when China says that they are a true democracy and America's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
They're like,
because it's their version. They say whatever they
full
want.
Process people's democracy.
Yeah, they just put on like a freaking like Cooler Ranch Doritos freaking like nacho cheesiest version of democracy, and then they just say it. And then you look up any statistic, and China ranks like 9 out of 100.
Yes.
Or sorry, they get a 9 out of 100 freedom score. They rank like 157th on the freedom charts out of like 158 countries.
I know, it's crazy.
Like, it's bad.
Yeah,
right?
it's very bad.
But if you don't look it up, China can throw these buzzwords out there, and you're supposed to believe it.
Yeah.
No, we were talking about this. I don't know if we ended up agreeing on it, but people are watching this interview saying owned. Look, they just got screwed. They're going to regret this interview. They're going to regret all this stuff. And like I said, I think it undoes billions of dollars of PR. I think
hopefully this has woken up a lot of people who are on the fence.
Yeah.
And maybe the people that have been following these horrible, obnoxious people that are trying to sing China's praises and the CCP's praises all the time without criticizing them. And also, this should really wake people up to one thing. Every single YouTuber, and I'm saying this because we're on YouTube and this is the format we're on. Every single YouTuber that currently resides in China, making videos about China, may not criticize China. That's the thing you can take from this.
Yeah.
You saw how quickly how quickly he shut down any attempt of criticism. And if you live in China and you're making videos about China, you're saying, look, it's so amazing. Look at the high-speed rail. Look at the flashy cities at night. Look at all this. There's a reason why it's only positive,
It's allowed.
positive.
That's allowed.
That's the only thing that's allowed. If they were to even start to criticize China, especially the government, if they were like, hey, the government policy is really screwed up over here, or what the government did, like, look at these homeless people here, or look at the whatever, they would be dealt with swiftly.
Like Victor said.
Yeah, and that's why you cannot trust any China-based YouTuber to be telling you the truth or an objective truth. The only thing they can show you is a rose-tinted bullshit version of China.
Right. And this actually goes way beyond that too.
Yeah.
This was my takeaway from this. As chuckly as it is, and it's funny to see like a CCP dude get owned and blah, 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 everything is exposed, all this kind of stuff, right? These buzzwords.
Yeah.
I think this is much grimmer than that, because the takeaway for me when I finished this was that China doesn't care that stuff was necessarily put out there. That's the state policy. I think it does do a lot of negative PR, and they're going to be pissed off about that part.
Yeah.
But if they can say this, if he can go through this whole interview and not backtrack and really just drive all these really grim points home, that means that is their policy. That is what they do.
Exactly.
This isn't opinion anymore. This is like a playbook, right?
Yeah.
And if China can show their playbook and continue to operate like that,
yeah,
then I think, and no one's doing anything about it, like countries around the world aren't going to do anything about it, they still want to cooperate,
yeah,
then it kind of shows you how screwed everything is.
Yes.
Because you can't show your playbook and how horrible it is and then just continue to operate like that.
Yeah.
Right? So this was like, to me, this is scary, if anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, hey, at least the veil has been lifted. People can see and make up their mind for themselves. Let's move on to our last part of the show, which is Worldview, where we talk about everything in the world, specifically with regards to China. And I have no idea. I suppose this is Worldview.
It is, absolutely.
Take a look at this map.
It's all the different countries around China.
So it's kind of strange, but China has been, over the last 50 years or so, has been setting up villages where it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you look at Nepal, Bhutan, India, all of the countries on China's western border.
You know, that whole part of the west of China, something like only 6% of the Chinese population exists.
It's very sparse.
It's like the outback in Australia.
Yes.
No one lives there.
It's like Wyoming in America.
It's just like a middle of nowhere. It's deserts and it's very vast regions. But for some reason, they've set up these little villages all along the borders here. And what's the reason behind that?
Well, so what they're doing right now, despite the government saying that they will never take an inch of land, in fact, I think Victor said that in that interview, and they'll never take an inch of land, right?
No, they'll never give up an inch.
Give up an inch of land, right? They'll take plenty of inches, right?
Oh, they'll take lots.
They'll take lots of inches.
They'll
much
take
more than
miles
inches.
of
They'll
land.
Take miles, right? So what they've been doing is salami slicing their way from Western China, kind of like what they do in the South China Sea, pushing their way down.
Yeah.
They're salami slicing and putting villages into places where there really wasn't anything there in other countries' territory, and saying, "Oh no, this is the new area of our border."
Yeah,
now.
it's like, oh, that's existed. China's owned that land.
And it's pretty deep into some of these places. This isn't like just right over. Like they're pretty far in.
Because those places are rural. Like they're in the middle of nowhere, right? They're just kind of like wilderness. So if they kind of step over the borderline by, I don't know, 300 meters and start building a big village and establish a presence there, then they can say, oh, this belongs to China. This is Chinese land. We've been here always.
You're seeing very egregious versions of this in Myanmar. Like they're just going way in there.
Yeah.
They've taken a swath of Myanmar at this point with the WA state. But anyway, you can see some of these satellite images of these areas.
Yeah, they set up, and even in like, if there were like a small minority, if there was a small minority presence in the area, they set up these villages and ship a bunch of the majority Han people there to basically take over. You know.
That's right.
So it's kind of what's been going on.
That's right. Just a quick little thing at the end here. This is a huge delivery driver revolution happening in China.
Well, what happened is a female delivery driver...
you can play it while you talk.
Yeah, basically was forced to kneel down and apologize and was fined for... either the delivery was late or there was some reason, but everybody just lost it because the delivery drivers in China work incredibly hard and they're treated like dirt.
And they don't make very much money.
No, and the problem is... it's the only job for a lot of people, even very highly qualified, very highly educated people. Because of China's economy, they end up being a delivery driver. But they're treated like subhuman in a lot of situations. So they just kind of had enough. It was a boiling point. There was a big thing. But we've been seeing a lot of uprisings in China recently.
Drop in the pan, really.
Yeah. Really, we've been seeing a lot of these little things popping up here and there because despite what all the propaganda says, China is going through a tough time at the moment.
Yes.
Economically.
A little correction. It was a male driver. People have been mistakenly calling him a female. I saw that there is a correction out there, but that's what was being put out.
All right, male driver. It doesn't matter about the gender, does it?
It doesn't. Well, this is 2024, guys.
Yeah, you can choose.
You can choose.
Yeah.
2024 is a driver.
Yeah.
And this driver was mistreated. And this is...
Pronouns are he, him.
Yes.
You choose.
You choose.
Yeah.
In this scenario, though, we are seeing so many of these little uprisings. We've seen them always in China, but there does seem to be a rash of them currently.
Yes, correct.
Around China. Anyway, moving on to our last thing, which is what?
Yumcha! This is our Q&A segment where, we answer your questions and you question our answers. So please, guys, it is Friday. It's time to relax, time to loosen the tie. Hope all is well with all of you. And if we don't see you now live or over the weekend, we cut the Q&A out of the show on Monday. But let's get started. If you're not sticking around, stay awesome. We'll see you next time.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for the double member.